So landlords are leaving the rental market. Nearly 1 in 4 plan to sell at some point in the next year or so. That's according to a new survey. So 1 in 4, like I say, planning to get out very, very soon. And because of that, the number of renters at risk of eviction has gone up almost 20%. 20%! And that's compared to the end of last year. This isn't normal. This is thousands of families being asked to move out, leave their homes, all because the landlord wants out. And it's not happening in just one area, it's happening all over the UK. So, what's really going on? A lot of it comes down to pressure. New rules, rising costs, and a system that makes it harder and riskier to be a landlord, especially a small one. So let's talk about one of those things then. And it usually gets emotions running quite high, which is Section 21. So if you listen to the media, it's the so-called no-fault eviction. They love hyping that up, don't they? And on the face of it, it sounds harsh, doesn't it? No-fault eviction. It sounds bloody harsh. And it sounds like landlords are just kicking people out for no reason. But the truth is, in my opinion, there's no such thing as truly no fault. Because at the end of the day, no landlord wants an empty property. They don't. It costs them money to have it empty. Why would you kick people out just to have an empty property? What's the point? It doesn't make sense. What they want is good tenants who actually pay on time. They look after the place, pleasant to deal with. And the one time they usually need people to leave is when something's gone wrong. When there's something like rent arrears, damage, repeat problems, lots of stress. To me, that's a fault. There is a fault. But Section 21 has become the only way to deal with that situation. And that's just because that if you were to take every situation like that through the proper channels, it's a bloody nightmare. So the proper channel would be a Section 8 eviction, which is a fault eviction. But it's a nightmare because the court system is backlogged, it's too expensive, it's too slow, and even if landlords are right, it can take months and cost thousands to get that resolution. So landlords are forced to use Section 21 as a practical way to avoid all the stress, the cost and the hassle. Not because they're heartless, but because the system doesn't work. Now, that option's being taken away from them. And a lot of landlords, they're looking at it and they're just saying, that's it, I'm done. And when all of that's going on, rents are rising. So the average UK rent is now just under 7% higher than it was at the end of last year. And in some cities even more. My local area, for example, you can now expect to pay £1,200 for a 3-bed. 1,200 quid a month for a 3-bed. A few years ago, that was just 500 quid. That's a huge increase in such a short space of time. And at the same time that all of that's been going on, house prices didn't really improve very well. They went down in some places, held in others. But you look at Chelsea, for example, over a 40% drop. They're back to 2013 values. 2013! It's crazy. That gap, where you've got higher income, lower prices, that creates opportunity. But most people are often too distracted. They get scared by the headlines and they don't notice. They hear things like landlords are quitting and assume that that's it, the market's over, buy-to-let's dead, all of that stuff. But what it really means, and all it really means, is there's change. It probably means that the old way isn't working and you need to do it better. And what it also means is there's space opening up for people who want to actually treat it like a business. People who want to learn how to do it properly, how to build a plan, so you're not just guessing and hoping. And what does that mean for you? It means you don't have to be scared of all the news. You can use it, because when supply goes down and demand stays high, which it is across the whole country, rents go up. And demand is high because we've got a housing shortage. And like I say, that's exactly what's going on right now. Savills, which is, well, one of the most trusted names in the industry, the experts, they're predicting rents are going to keep rising, something like 20% over the next 5 years or so. So people are saying that rents are going to have to stop, but based on Savills data and the trends that they analyse and they can see, that's not going to happen. Rents would have continued. That's based on facts. So right now, if you bought a good property, good cash flows, one that's in the right area, so there's good demand, a good deal, you can be setting yourself up now for real long-term income, generational wealth, not just as a one-time thing, as a quick get-rich-quick opportunity. It's none of that. It's long-term passive income that creates generational wealth. Something steady, something strong, something that keeps growing. But, and there is a but, only if you know what you're doing. Because right now is not the time to be guessing and just going it alone and hoping for the best. It's the time to learn how to run the numbers properly, how to understand different areas and what works in those areas and what doesn't, to know what lending options you've got available, what mortgage products are out. Some mortgages are really expensive, but if you work with a broker, you can get good deals. You also need to know what kind of properties you're still both buying. And if you don't have the money and you're sat there thinking, yeah, that's all right for people with money, you also need to learn how to raise money from private investors, JV partners, how you can raise money so not having any money or not enough money is not your barrier, it's not your problem. And all of that stuff we teach inside property school. And right now is the moment that property school was built for. There's no fluff, no get rich quick promises, just straight practical guidance, where inside you get things like how to find deals that cash flow, how to analyse properties so you don't lose money, how to raise finance from private investors or joint ventures, how to navigate the different regulations that we've got coming up, like the Renters' Rights Bill, how to make interest-only mortgages work in your favour, how leverage works, Rob Moore's Money Mastermind. It's all in there. Plus, there's content on all the different investment strategies. So things like BRR, SA, deal packaging, no money down and creative property investing techniques, commercial conversions. Plus, on top of that, there's new content every week, and it costs just less than 40p a day. You can get all of that for 40p a day. You can cancel anytime. We're not going to hold you to any long-term contracts or anything like that, so you can jump in, check it out, consume all the content, and then cancel if that's what you want to do. There's no catch. It's truly cancel anytime. So I'm just going to invite you to go check it out. Go to property.school/go. So you can type that into any browser. Just go property.school/go. Actually, let me put the link on the screen. Go check it out. And just remember that you might have right now headlines that are off-putting. You might have things, you might be seeing stuff like landlords leaving, prices uncertain, rents high, buy-to-let's dead, all of that stuff. But the people who get ahead are the ones who embrace these headlines and they see them as good news. And they're ones who don't wait for things to feel right or be perfect. They're prepared to take action. The professional property investor is always going to win, no matter what market, no matter what the headlines, because they act when others hesitate. They know how to spot opportunity, they know how to spot value, and they back themselves and they move. Bad news headlines is actually good news for the professional. And this is the moment to prepare and to start moving. It's definitely not time to freeze. If others are walking away and leaving the market, you have the chance to step in, because the country needs houses. It needs good landlords who are going to provide good quality rental accommodation. They need them now more than ever. And with the right knowledge and right support, you can make it work. So I just want to invite you again to go to property.school/go. Come check us out, come join us, get yourself moving, let's talk property, and remember to invest for freedom, choice, and profit. I'll see you inside.